The large stone halls of St. Andrew's University always felt cold in the morning. The old windows let in gray light from the cloudy sky above. Students hurried to their classes, their breath turning white in the chilly air. Among them was a young man in a simple sweater and jeans, his head down as he walked. But this was not just any young man. It was Prince William. At university, William tried to live a normal life. He wanted to be just a student, not a prince, not the future king. Just a young man hoping to study, laugh, and make friends. But it was never easy. No matter where he went, people watched him. Girls giggled when he passed. Boys tried to act cool. Cameras followed him everywhere outside the campus. But inside St. Andrews, William found some peace, shared a flat with friends. He cooked meals. He washed dishes. And in one of his classes, he noticed her. Her name was Kate Middleton. At first, it was just a quiet glance. Kate sat 2 rows ahead. She wore her dark hair loose, her face fresh and kind. She didn't look around for attention. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. That was what caught William's eye. He noticed how she listened carefully to the professor, how she smiled softly when something was funny. She seemed calm, comfortable in her own world. One afternoon, William sat near her. In the campus cafe, they both ordered tea. Kate sat with her friends, laughing. Her laugh was light and natural, not forced. William found himself smiling too. In that moment, something stirred in him, soft feeling, curiosity. Over the next weeks, they crossed paths again and again. In the library, on the lawn, at student dinners, William began to watch her more. Glances became longer, but he still didn't speak much. He was shy, unsure. Kate noticed too. She had known who William was, of course. Everyone did. But she also saw something different in him. When he thought no one was watching, he looked a little lonely, a little unsure. One day, everything changed. The university held a charity fashion show. William came with friends, sitting quietly in the back. The room buzzed with music and excitement.
Our models
Walked down the small runway. Then Kate appeared. She wore a simple dress, but it shimmered under the lights. The room seemed to pause.
Williams.
Eyes locked on her. His heart beat faster. In that instant, something clicked inside him. He saw not just a kind girl in class. He saw her beauty, her grace, her quiet strength. After the show, William found himself looking for her. And for the first time, he spoke. "That was amazing," he said, his voice a little nervous. Kate smiled, her cheeks pink. "Thank you." From that small moment, their friendship began. At first, it was simple. They shared notes, walked to class together, sat in the cafe. They talked about books, music, family. There were no royal guards, no cameras, just 2 young people getting to know each other. Kate found William to be thoughtful, sometimes funny, sometimes serious. He listened well, and he treated her as an equal, not as a prince. William admired Kate's kindness and calm. She never tried to use him for fame. She never acted different around him. With her, he could relax. He could be himself. As the months passed, their friendship deepened. Small moments became special. A long walk on the beach, quiet dinner after studying, shared smiles in the library. But neither said aloud what they were feeling. There was still uncertainty. Was this just friendship, or something more? William wondered, could she really accept life with him? Life full of cameras, headlines, pressure? Did she feel the same? Kate wondered, could she really be with someone whose life was not his own? Could she handle the public eye? Did he truly care for her? The questions hung between them, unspoken. But their eyes said more than words. The glances grew longer, softer. The silences between them were full of meaning. Then came the moment that changed everything. A small house party with close friends. Music played. People laughed. William and Kate found themselves sitting together on the stairs, away from the crowd. For a moment, they just looked at each other. The room felt still. William's heart pounded. His mind raced. But then, gently, naturally, he reached out and took her hand. Kate's fingers curled around his. Her eyes sparkled. No words were needed. In that simple touch, everything was understood. Their story was just beginning. A story built not on grand moments, but on quiet glances, deep friendship, and the slow, steady blooming of love. What would happen next? Knew. But both felt the same truth. This bond between them was something rare, something real, and they both wanted to see where it would lead. The weeks after that small moment on the stairs felt different. William and Kate saw each other often, sometimes with friends, sometimes just the two of them. Their bond grew slowly but surely. It was still unspoken, but the feelings between them were clear. There were more walks along the cold Scottish beaches, more late-night talks over tea. Their friendship deepened into something more. But it wasn't an easy path. Outside the old stone buildings of the university, the world watched. The press had started to notice Kate. Cameras waited at the gates. Porters asked questions. Photographers followed her in town. Kate had never wanted attention. She liked simple things, reading books, walking in the woods, laughing with friends. Now every small thing she did appeared in the news. Her clothes were judged. Her smile was captured in magazines. It was hard for her, but she stayed calm. William saw how strong she was. He admired her grace under pressure. He knew what it was like. He had lived under cameras all his life. But seeing Kate face it too made him feel protective. He also felt guilty. It was because of him that her life was now different. He often wondered, would she be happier without this? At the same time, William's own life became more stressful. His royal duties were increasing. His family expected him to do more. There were endless public events, official trips, and royal expectations. Sometimes he had to leave for days, even weeks. Those times were the hardest. Kate missed him, but she never complained. She understood. She always smiled when he called, always supported him. But deep inside, doubts grew for both of them. Could this love survive the weight of the royal world? Did Kate really live in the shadow of the crown? Could William ask her to? There were moments when the pressure felt too much. They drifted apart at times. There were arguments, long silences, moments of sadness. William struggled with his duty. He loved Kate, but he also feared hurting her. Could he give her the life she deserved? Kate wondered too, did she really belong in his world? Could she handle the life of a royal wife? Their hearts pulled them together. Their fears sometimes pushed them apart. One cold winter evening, after one such argument, William sat alone in his room. Snow fell outside the window. He stared at his phone, unsure what to do. Finally, he called her. His voice was soft. "Kate, I miss you." There was silence. Then her voice came, gentle but full of feeling. "I miss you too." That was enough.
Ow.
The next day, they met in the cafe where it had all begun. No guards, no cameras, just the two of them. They talked for hours. About their hopes, their fears, their love.
Ow.
They both cried a little. But by the end of that talk, they knew one thing for sure. Their bond was too strong to let go. They would face the future together. Still, it wasn't simple. The media pressure grew. Kate's family was now followed too. Her parents, her sister, all watched by the public. There were times Kate felt trapped. But William was always there. He supported her, protected her, reassured her. He often told her, "You are strong, stronger than you know." And Kate, in her quiet way, gave him strength too. She reminded him of who he really was, not just a prince, but a man, a friend, a partner. Their love grew deeper with each trial. Not because life was perfect, but because they faced the hard times together, and through it all. One thing became clear. What they shared was real, rare, and worth fighting for. But still, a question hung in the air. Would William ever ask the question that would change everything? Would he propose? The world watched and waited. So did Kate's heart. Though she never asked, deep down she wondered too. What would come next? Her story was far from over. And soon, the moment of truth would come. Time passed. The seasons changed. William and Kate had now known each other for years. Their bond was strong, stronger than ever. But still, one question remained. Would he ask her to be his wife? Kate never spoke of it. She never pushed. Deep in her heart, she wondered. And sometimes on quiet nights, William wondered too. He knew what the question meant. It was not simple. Asking Kate to marry him would change everything. Yet not just for her, but for her family, her life, her future. Could he really ask her to step into his world, a world full of duties, cameras, and endless public eyes? And yet he loved her more than he had ever thought possible. She was his closest friend, his safe place, the person who truly knew him. The idea of life without her now seemed impossible. William thought of his mother often during this time. He remembered how lonely she had sometimes felt in the royal life. He did not want that for Kate. He wanted her to be happy. He wanted her to feel loved and safe. So he waited, he thought. He watched her. And slowly, the answer grew clear in his heart. He could not live without her. He must ask, but how? Where? In what way could he show her what she truly meant to him? He planned everything carefully. One bright afternoon, William invited Kate on a trip. Just the two of them. Far from the cameras, far from the crowds, they flew to Africa, to a place where the sky was wide and the stars shone bright at night. A place where they could be free. Kate was happy to be with him, though she did not know what was in his heart that day. They walked together through the wild land, watched the sunset, listened to the sounds of nature, and as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with gold and pink, William knew this was the moment. His heart beat fast. His hands trembled a little. But his voice was steady when he spoke. "Kate, will you marry me?" In his hand was his mother's ring. Beautiful, simple, filled with deep meaning. Kate looked at him, her eyes wide. For a moment, she could not speak. Her heart was full, her throat tight with emotion. Finally, her voice came, soft but clear. "Yes. Of course, yes." Tears filled her eyes. William smiled, a deep, true smile. At that moment, everything changed. The doubts, the fears, all washed away. They would face the future together, as partners, as husband and wife, but the world did not yet know. For weeks, they kept their joy a secret, just for themselves. It was a precious time, full of quiet happiness and soft glances, but soon the news would come out. And when it did, the world cheered. People loved the story, the prince and the common girl. The years of friendship turned to love. The long wait for a royal proposal. Headlines flashed. Cameras gathered. Everyone wanted to see the couple. Kate now stood at the center of the public eye. But this time it was different. She was no longer just William's friend. She was his future wife, his chosen partner. And with that new title came new challenges. Her life would never be the same, but Kate stood tall, calm, ready, because by her side was William, and in her heart was love. Their story was now out in the world. But the deeper story, the true bond between them, remained something only they could fully know. And as they prepared for the next chapter, the royal wedding, one thing was clear. This was not just a royal romance. It was a love born of friendship, tested by time, and ready for whatever came next. The days before the wedding were filled with excitement. The whole world waited. News channels spoke of nothing else. Princes and presidents, kings and queens, crowds from every country. All were coming to see the royal wedding, but for William and Kate, this was not just a grand event. This was their day, a day of love, a day of promise. Yet, even with the joy, there was a quiet worry in Kate's heart. Would she be enough? Could she stand the weight of the crown? Could she face the endless cameras, the duties, the rules of royal life? She wondered these things. Late at night, when the lights were off and only her thoughts remained, William knew. He could see it in her eyes. And so, on one quiet evening, just days before the wedding, he took her hand and spoke softly. "You are enough," he said. "You are strong, you are ready, and you are not alone. I will always be here." Kate smiled, her heart warmed by his words. She knew then this was not just a prince she was marrying. This was the man who loved her for who she was, not for her title. Finally, the wedding day arrived. The air was fresh and cool. Bells rang across the city. Crowds cheered inside the palace. Kate stood in her wedding dress. A simple gown, elegant, with soft lace and a long train. Her heart pounded in her chest. She looked in the mirror. She hardly recognized herself, not because of the dress, but because of what this day meant. This was the start of a new life. As the car carried her through the streets, crowds waved and shouted with joy, but Kate stayed calm. Inside, she was thinking only of one thing. William, in the grand hall of the church. William stood waiting. His heart raced. He wore his uniform, proud but nervous. When he saw Kate step through the doors, his breath caught. She was beautiful, but more than that, she was his, the woman he loved, the one who had stood beside him through everything. As she walked toward him, their eyes met. In that look, there was no fear, only love, deep and certain. The ceremony began. Words were spoken. Vows were made. "I will love you and honor you all the days of my life," William said. Kate's voice was steady as she answered, "I will love you and honor you all the days of my life." Their hands joined. The ring slipped onto her finger, and with that simple circle of gold, their lives were bound forever. The cheers outside were loud. The bells rang again. But in that moment, it was as if only the two of them existed, prince and princess, husband and wife. When they stepped onto the palace balcony, the crowd below roared with joy. But Kate's eyes were only for William. His eyes were only for her. This was their moment. From quiet glances in the classroom to deep friendship, to unbreakable love, they had faced doubts, distance, and the pressures of the world. But love had brought them here, and love would carry them forward. As the day faded into night, they danced together at the palace. The music was soft, the lights golden. William whispered in her ear, "Are you happy?" Kate smiled, her eyes shining. "Yes, so happy." He held her close. "We will face it all together." And she believed him, for now and for always. There. Story, the untold love story of William and Kate, was no longer untold. It was written in their hearts, and it was only just beginning.